Hi, my name is Jay Oza. I teach, mentor, and coach people on public speaking so that they can give winning high stakes speeches, whether it's one on one, in a job interview, or a business meeting in front of a small group, or at a conference in front of a large audience. Today, I want to talk about sales. We always read books that teaches us how to sell, how to win a deal, all of that, but they never tell you how to deal with salespeople. There are very few books that really teach you how to deal with salespeople. These books always think that the people you're selling to are kind of babe in the woods. They've never read any books. That they got to be the worst people when it comes to sales. That you can just use your technique and it just works, and it doesn't. And I teach salespeople as far part of my public speaking. And here's what I tell them. I said, look, I've read all these books. I know all these techniques. So, and I know they work. But at the same time, I want to protect myself. And here's what I do. And then you can figure out how you would address this situation. Okay? Let's say I'm meeting you and you're a salesperson. I will let you sell to me. And I want to see how great you are in selling to me. That means you're just looking at it and trying to sell how good your product is. It does this, it does this, it does that, right? You sell to me. I'm not going to give you any information. I just want to know whether your product is what I'm looking for without giving you any information. Now, you may say, well, that doesn't make me a good salesperson. I say, listen, right now I'm just in an exploratory mode, so I don't really know my requirements. I just want to understand what you have to offer. So just give it to me and then I will make my decision. Okay? So I just want to know whether this is a product that has the wow factor, saying, wow, I need this. So you get a free, almost I'm giving you, freedom to just sell to me on why your product is the one I should consider. I don't need to give you any more information, and I don't want to give you any more information, because giving you more information is not what I'm going to do. You sold it to me and I'm convinced now. And you can use any manipulation techniques you want. And I'm now convinced that based on what I'm looking for, your product may be the right one. Okay, so that's the first phase. You did that part well. The second phase is the most difficult one for salespeople. And this is the one where I have now identified, let's say, 3 justification on why we should go with you. But in the second one, I'm not going to be part of the process because I've been compromised. You've done such a great job in convincing me to buy it that at this point, those 3 justifications are more like an afterthought. But now I'm going to do the reverse part, and I'll have somebody else drill down on those 3 justifications to see whether you're really legitimate. And those justifications will directly tie into our specific needs. So at this point, you can't manipulate the second person. Since I've been compromised, you've done a great job, you've told great stories, you may have used humor. On the second one, that's not going to save you. Okay, so what's the whole point here? The point is that to be a good salesman, you really need to be able to connect and manipulate and persuade. That's given. Then you have to really back it up. That's not going to be enough. You now have to completely remove that and enter the second phase where you need to show depth, that you really understand the customer and exactly the justification, whether that's indeed the case, whether you can validate those justifications. And this is where a lot of salespeople don't do a good job, and they think that the first phase is just sufficient to win a deal. And that's what we see in movies and stuff, but the real sales is done in the second phase. First phase is like a qualifying round. It's the second phase that really clinches the deal. Now this happens in companies where there's a big ticket items, they go through grooming, but they really don't have a real defined understanding of the process. The people that are involved in phase 1 are also involved in phase 2. And I don't think that's how it should work. There's a phase 1 where you're just doing the discovery phase, and that's where the decision maker should be involved. But the phase 2 is completely independent from phase 1. Then in phase 3, where the salesperson is not even involved, where you come together and say, okay, here's what we have found. You know, the people who were involved in phase one give their presentation, people in phase two give their presentation, and then they come to an agreement and saying, okay, based on those, I think this is the one we need to go with. This keeps the process very fair, but it means that the salesperson has to be good in both phases, phase one and phase two. You can't just say, well, I went and had a great presentation. That's not going to cut it. You're going to have to also perform on a one-on-one. And that's what I teach in public speaking, that you may be good in a group setting, but then you also have to be good one-on-one. And one-on-one, you got to really know your stuff, because if you don't come across as somebody who's really credible, then assuming that the customer and the prospects you're dealing with are probably smarter than you are, they know their stuff, you're not going to get the deal. You would have wasted a lot of time. So that's what I teach salespeople. Don't just follow this book and think that there's this manipulation technique. That gives you the phase one. But the real selling is done in phase two. In phase two, you really have to get into the nuts and bolts in order to win the deal. And that's how sales is really works in the real world. Not based on movies and books that you read. I mean, those are fine, but that's not how sales works. Sales is you have to expect that the people that are buying something are going to be much smarter than you are. Don't disrespect their intelligence. And a lot of the books that I see out there just completely pretends that the people on the opposing side are the most stupidest people in the world. They have never read any of these books. They're just going to get wowed by your great style and presentation. Yeah, that might get you to the meeting, but then you're going to fall apart. Okay? So let me know what you think. And like I said, sales is very critical to your success, whether it's a job interview, whether it's business or actual sales. Sales is critical to your success, and you've got to know how to do it well. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching, and good luck selling.